Whew, beautiful day, at least visually. Skies are blue, sun is out, but in reality, when you step outside, you realize it's still cold. Looks better than it actually is. There's a lot of things in life like that, isn't there? Had an interesting weekend and managed to, well, it's Sunday about 1 o'clock and haven't sent you any text messages or even made or uploaded any new videos to YouTube, and I guess since Friday. You haven't really been watching anything on YouTube, but I've been contacting you last week via text more, which I don't even know if you watch those or listen to them or whatever. To be honest, I have no idea. One thing about that app, it doesn't really tell me when you see the messages or if you see the messages. You know, I send them and it never changes. It just, you know, I don't have any input on whether or not you look at it, read it, or whatever. All I know is when it's sent. Yeah, I actually had a pretty good, interesting weekend. You know, I spent it with a girl, and you know, let's be honest, it you know, and you know it as well as I do. That's why women don't leave a man until they have another man. That's why you didn't leave me until you had another man. That's why you spent the summer getting another man. And you can talk all you want, and you know that you're not, but I'm talking to you directly, and you know the truth, so you know I'm right. And you don't have to rebut it and say that's not true. You know it's true. You weren't happy for a long time, but between work and me, you know, keeping you coming home right after work and things like, you really didn't have time to fucking develop a relationship. It wasn't until you stopped working and faked your little injury at work, and which you did. I mean, that was bullshit, you know. Walked into work and went back and immediately picked up a 50-pound crate so that you could fake an injury. Now, I'm not saying you don't have back injury. I don't say your back doesn't hurt. But you did what you did to get out of going to work. And once you did that, with my help, to be honest, you know, you were able to stay off of work. Not just with my help, because of me, you were able to stay off of work until indefinitely, you know. Either your case has been resolved now and you've gotten a payout, or you're still off work. Either your story's true that they're still jerking you around, or you got paid, which is what I believe, and you're still and now you're done with that job and can do whatever the fuck you want. And you have enough money to play house with him. You know, which I know you're doing now. You're over there in the afternoons. You know, you don't even take your fucking car, which I suppose means either you stay there all night and don't come home until after he gets off work, or you take him to work and then maybe stop back at the house, feed the animals, and then take his car back to the fucking, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe you probably killed off Tank, you know. I mean, just the way you said it the one day. Well, we could keep him alive, but he's just not really healthy. And what it was you don't want to have to keep feeding him and taking him outside every fucking 4 hours to piss. So if you get rid of him, the other animals, you take Rosie and Buddy with you, So the cats, you know, they shit in a fucking litter box. You know, they're not making a mess. You dump out a fucking pound of fucking food for them and leave, and you can be gone all day. You know, but when you had Tank there, it impeded your ability to leave for, you know, extended periods. So you got rid of him. You know, you killed him, plain and simple. You know, and then blamed it on he was sick. The same way you got rid of me, and blamed it on he was mean or he was abusive. You know, just because you're a narcissist. That's, you know, it's become more and more clear, and the more I look at you and your behaviors in the last year, as well as your behaviors when I met you. You know, this isn't what you did this year wasn't something abnormal for you that happened within the confines of our relationship and because of my actions only. You were doing this kind of stuff to other men. You did this to me when there was no violence, no anything. You know, you were running off and cheating in the first 3 months. Then with your next man, so you could say, well, yeah, but it was you both times. Because, yeah, well, then explain Doug. Explain what you did to Doug. You know? Yeah. You did the same fucking thing to him. You know, you were messaging dozens of men. I mean, however many men would message you on Facebook, you messaged them back. You know? Dozens of them. And probably had long, you know, the guy from, I think you said Maryland or whatever. You had long Facebook fucking affair with him. And I kind of suspect you may have ran off to see him at one point. I know there was a weird fucking address pinned in your fucking phone. So, but either way, we know for a fact he was messaging you and you were messaging him, and he was certainly sending you dick pics, and I suspect you were sending him all kind of pictures too. Whether how graphic you got, I don't know. But, you know, then again, even with me, it was pretty hard to get you to send anything other than a fucking tit shot in a bra or something. But to get back to me, yeah, I spent the weekend with a girl. Young girl, 23. And when I say I spent the weekend with her, I mean I picked her up on Friday night and she stayed. She's still there right now. I'm going to the gym. Skipped the gym yesterday for her. And today I'm going to go to the gym, and then after I get back, I'll take her home. And I'll tell you what, it makes things a lot fucking easier. And it won't be the first week and the only weekend I spend with her, I suspect, anyway. I know based on everything she said, she wants it to be a regular thing. And, you know, what I find is it does make it easier, you know. Well, it's not just that it's easier, it's that even if I wanted to send you a message, because I'll be honest with you, there were times when I was with her this weekend that I was still thinking about you. And that I'm comparing things that she does to things that you did, and you know, so, you know, it's not that you've been completely erased. I wish. You know, I mean, fuck, you know, that takes time. Look at you. You know, you were fucking this guy over the summer, sneaking off. You wanted him so bad that you got a PFA so that you could continue to fuck him. And then literally a month after you get me kicked out of the house, you're sneaking off to fuck me again. Okay, yeah, we didn't fuck, but you sucked my dick in a parking lot. I finger banged you in my house. You were on my bed, you know. And if I'd have pushed things, I'm sure I could have fucked you. All I would have had to do was rip your goddamn pants down and throw you on the fucking bed. And you'd have loved it. And you probably were waiting for me to do it. And that way you could say, well, he forced me to. But that was another thing. Once you threw me in fucking jail, I couldn't trust you enough to do anything even that anybody could potentially say was forcible. You know, when we were together and in love, I could grab you, throw you on the bed, rip your fucking clothes off, and know in the end you're not going to call the cops and say I raped you. But I couldn't trust you in September or October to do that anymore. So as soon as you said no, I had to respect that and stop. Even though probably in reality you wanted me to keep going, you know, because I know that's how you are. But, you know, at the end of the day, I couldn't take that chance anymore because I couldn't really trust you. And you know, and I've thought about this not this weekend so much, but in the past. You know, could I ever trust you again? You know, could I ever trust that you would pull some bullshit, come home? First of all, could I ever trust anytime you're out of the house that you weren't getting dicked down? You know, well, I'm going to go to the store. Would I ever be able to trust that you didn't hit him up or somebody else up and tell him to meet you at the fucking parking lot like you did, you know, this summer? I mean, what a coincidence. You stopped at the same parking lot you took me to fuck. I mean, you're pathetic, you know? No, it was the next door. Was it? Bullshit. I could tell by looking at that fucking GPS system was down to the fucking foot. I know where the fuck you were parked. You didn't just pull off there to fucking make a phone call. So don't give me your bullshit. Plus, I noticed you started fucking, when you pulled in there, you start fucking with the tracker. You're trying to get it to shut off. Wasn't just pulling in there to make a fucking phone call. You were in there to suck his dick. Middle of the fucking afternoon. So you think I could ever really fucking trust you anytime you ever left out? And you know I couldn't. That's why you said you'll never be able to trust me again. You'll never be able, what did you say? You'll never be able to give me the freedom I need. The freedom you need to go get fucked. You know, to go meet men. Because you're a fucking insatiable whore. Ultimately, that's the reality of it, Danielle. You're an insatiable fucking whore who will never be faithful to any man for any long period of time. I suspect you probably cheated on Gary. I really do. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's why he left you. He probably started figuring out. Maybe he didn't catch you, you know, with a dick in your fucking twat. Just like I didn't catch you with a dick in your twat. But he could probably figure out your patterns the same as I figured out your patterns. You know, all of a sudden you probably started coming home late from work, or, you know, getting weird text messages at night or phone calls or whatever. You know.